Okay, so I'm going to do a quick presentation about high-speed rail and what you're going to hear about for the day. 2 days, actually. So once again, welcome. We're here in DC for the first time in a few years. It's actually been 4 years since our last conference. And I want to thank all of our speakers, sponsors, members, and everyone who's come today for being part of this and for helping to make high-speed rail happen. Over the next 2 days, you're going to hear from all kinds of the whole variety, all the projects. You're going to hear about all the things that are taking shape in America, the policies that we're working on, a lot of the things that we need to be discussing to really make this part of to accelerate in America. And so the good news is high-speed rail is coming to America. So when we have $66 billion that was recently passed in the bipartisan infrastructure law, Secretary Buttigieg has said to Congress they want to demonstrate high-speed rail in 2 to 3 geographies with the money from that same law. And so that's what we're going to be working on. And it's time to step up, scale up, and to build this great transportation network across America. And we've got 2 key projects that are on the cusp. You're going to be hearing about both of these. This is Brightline West and California high-speed rail. You heard a little bit about it from the speaker. But we're going to be hearing in depth on both of these projects. We have full panels on each of them during the 2 days. And then we have a pipeline that's actually following behind those that we're going to also be hearing from a number of people from each of these projects as well. So right now we look around the world and there's lots of models of how do you build high-speed rail and how do you do networks, national networks. And so the high-speed rail, it's a proven technology. It's all over the world. It's been carrying billions of passengers safely, efficiently, and on time for over 50 years, starting in Japan and spreading out all across Europe and Asia. And China themselves have built the world's largest high-speed rail network. It's more high-speed rail than the whole rest of the world combined. And if you look at how big that is, that's China and the United States at the same scale. So you can begin to see the scale of what they've built in their country. It's quite unbelievable. And how they did it, they made it a #1 national priority in planning, funding, and expedited construction. And they spent $1.4 trillion since 2004. And that built 26,000 miles of all brand new state-of-the-art high-speed rail. It's now operational, and they're still building another 17,000 miles with the goal to have that completed by 2035. And there you can see that, where they fit in the world. They've got the longest network of all the countries, and there's a number of them that are coming up behind these. And Europe is another one, built a large network. It was 8 or 9 different nations that each built their piece, and now it's a huge network spanning multiple countries, multiple nations, and then it's still planning to expand and double over the next 20 or 30 years. And so again, you put the EU map next to the US map, and there you have again, it's the same scale as the United States, what they actually have high-speed rail there. And so there's our national map, what it could look like. We launched this in 2009 to put out a vision and pushing the nation to start working towards this. And we're doing it piece by piece. But the question is, why are we so far behind? Well, we've been spending all our money on building highways and aviation systems while almost ignoring high-speed rail only until recently. And you can see the numbers here are phenomenal. $2 trillion on highways, $777 billion on aviation, and only $10 billion on high-speed rail. And keep in mind, that's compared to China spending $1.4 trillion. So you get what you pay for is kind of the old adage. And what we paid for and what we got is an overloaded system that can't keep up with the demands and the number of people that we're trying to move around the country. And so it really ends up being just constant delays and hassles to get anywhere in this country because we don't have the high-speed rail pieces missing. And so there's what we have now. It's an incomplete system. We're missing the 2 rail pieces. But when you add those in, the high-speed rail is the high capacity, delivers 20,000 people per hour on time, every time. And then that changes it to give us a complete transportation system. So this is really the goal that we're shooting for. And so the other big goal is to decarbonize our transportation system. And you're going to hear a whole panel about that tomorrow morning. And so really to do that, we need a full range of electric transport from high-speed rail on down electric cars, bicycles, And that's how you put all those pieces together and you can decarbonize with that. And so this is where it shows where high-speed rail actually fits in. It's the greenest mode possible by far in terms of energy efficiency and in terms of low emissions. And it also is the other part of the decarbonization is actually mode shift, getting people to move out of the high carbon modes like aviation and cars and into high-speed rail. And you can see from these charts, it actually happens. Every country that builds these, they get these huge mode shifts to happen. And it saves time. You can get, this is the other way, with a faster transportation, more people will take it, and then that helps speed up the mode shift, and that helps speed up the decarbonization. So it's really time to get serious. Our key priorities now are to work on build out the network with timelines and completion goals. So we actually have targets that we want to aim for and hit. Sustained and growing federal funding, expedited permitting processes, federal leadership and assistance assembling routes, and national standards on project design and rapid delivery. So just a quick brief about the association. We started in 2009 and we've been pushing this ever since. We're members across the industry. And again, we offer the voice and to actually be out there pushing this in the media, in politics, and the grassroots levels. And we started the coalition in 2021 to bring together unions, environmental and public interest groups, the whole rail industry, and really started pushing and ramping up our lobbying efforts in Washington. And we are proud to have our co-chairs, Secretary Ray LaHood, Secretary Anthony Fox, and Rod Diridon. And Ray LaHood will be here today, and you'll be hearing from him a number of times. And these are the members of the coalition. We want to thank them all for joining and encourage anyone else who's interested to become part of this. And the impact we've had so far is we played a central role in securing the $66 billion for high-speed rail in the bipartisan infrastructure law. We secured eligibility for high-speed rail in the $12 billion of it in the Fed-state partnership. And we led the campaign in California to secure $4.2 billion bond appropriation. So all that effort is actually helping to get this moving. So I want to thank you all for coming. Enjoy the conference. Thank you very much.